Well, putting a little bit of time into Lennards' car today, and probably for the next couple days, and maybe 5 days after that, or however long it takes. Anyways, the need to be adding a second filler tube to this gas tank here. So, see the stock, that's the pickup. There's one filler tube. I have another filler tube neck, I guess you call it, that I had cut out of this old junk gas tank that I need to weld to here. But you can't just take one side, flip it over the other side, and weld it up real easy. So I'm gonna have to do some fabrication here to make this work. Reason this car needs two filler tubes is because his car has two gas caps. It's not factory. Of course, that is how the 68 Charger was intended to be designed. It was prototyped like this, but then they cut the passenger side out and to eliminate cost. So, but he wants to make this functional. I keep making fun of him, telling him it looks like a boat with two gas caps on both sides, but practicality, at least he can pull into a gas station on either side. So, but yep, that's what I'm going to be doing right now. So, get back to it. All right. I didn't really want to record all this because it was just pounding and beating and pounding and beating and getting this side here to have the same dimensions as the other side. I screwed up and I cut too much of the gas tank out, so I'm gonna have to weld that back in. Yeah, it's my fuck up. But that was when I thought I was gonna be able to do it a different way. But I have it all marked up right now. It took a lot of shaping to get this freaking thing to fit right. This arch right here was down here, so I had to move the arch up, change the arch over here, flatten the top out, and then reshape the bottom. Jeez. And I'm not the best metal shaper, so I'm still learning. But I was able to reshape it to fit. So now, if you look, this has to be all the same. So we got, was that 59.1? So if we go over here, we have, oops, I moved it. 59.0. So that's close enough. Close enough. And then, where'd my tape measure go? There it is. All right. So we have 40. All right. I use the metric stuff because I know what it was before. So we got 45. Yeah, we got 45 millimeters, so that way, and we got over here, the same thing, it's 45 millimeters. So these should be exactly the same, except for one sits a little higher and one sits a little lower, which is no big deal. It's actually, that's okay, because actually this part of the floor, we didn't put that hump in there for this, so to allow that to sit higher. So this being flat on the top is actually better. And then really all I got to do is just pull the filler tube down a ½ inch. No big deal. So actually, is that a ½ inch? Yeah, it's probably a ½ inch down. All right. But at least the filler tube will come in the same on both sides, or same angles anyway. Or I could have just fucked the whole thing up. You never know. We'll find out till I get in the car. Alright, well this was my gas tank. Leonard hadn't paid for this yet, so if I screw it up, it just wasted my money. Alrighty, well, I gotta go deliver that hoopty out on the trailer because I sold it this morning. Money. Alright, bye. Alright, yeah, nobody's perfect. When I cut this to fit here, I cut a little bit too much off of it. So, you know that old saying, measure twice, cut once? I measured twice and cut twice and screwed up, so I had to lengthen this a little bit. And I cut this material out of that old gas tank because this is probably that galvanized stuff, or I think this is galvanized. So I wanted to keep the same metal between them, that way the inside of this wouldn't rot out. But anyways, yeah, just having to lengthen that, or lengthen it this way, and it only needed like a ½ inch. I was like, shit. But so I had to weld this piece on here to extend it. Then I'll have to trim all this up, make it all nice, and get it going. When I'm TIG welding small stuff like this or sheet metal, I just use regular welding wire from the MIG welder. Just run some wire out, cut it, and I just use that. Because if you try and use the rod for the TIG welding, it's just too thick. You can't get a small bead with it. There. See, with the MIG wire, you can get a lot smaller beads. So now I need to do some test fitting, trimming, cutting, and I can weld this sucker together. Good. Well, beating this thing more into shape. What do I do with it? You know when you just have something in your hand and you... What the hell? Dumbass. It's on the freaking tank. Alright. Yeah, I just gotta do a little bit more beating into shape on this thing. Just trying to... I gotta get this guy to shape perfectly to the gas tank so I can TIG weld it. Just gotta do a little shaping on it. Gotta shrink it. Closer. Aha! It's getting there. See what I'm having to do here is get this thing to shape to match the gas tank. Because this piece used to be on the other side, like I said, and I had to do a whole bunch of shaping and rebending and changing the radiuses like a ½ inch away from where they used to be. And it's taking a lot to make this sucker fit, but it's getting close. Very close. Very, actually, you know what? Shit, that's almost money. So let me finish hammering. Alright, finally got finished welding this thing. I hate welding galvanized. It just sucks. You get that, all that brown shit all the way around the weld, and it just doesn't flow that well. But it's on there. As good as it's gonna look. And it's not too bad, you know, but it's just, galvanized just sucks to weld. So at least now, you know, he has a passenger filler tube and a driver filler tube. So those gas caps will be functional. Alright. Ooh. All that shit come out of there. Bam. Alright, well, now I gotta go pick up the woman and come back so I can start cutting holes in the trunk. So, see it? Well, this is what I get for not paying close enough attention when doing Lennards 4-link. Can't get the freaking gas tank strap J-bolt in the hook. And the 4-link is welded in exactly where it's supposed to, because it has an alignment bracket here that lines it up with the original shock tower. So that's just I don't know what happened here, but it's a no fit. So I'm gonna have to modify the J-bolt so I can basically just tap a wedge in there, and then I can get the J-bolt in there. Just gotta take a little bit of shank out of that. It's no big deal, but just more work. You know, it's like fitting a square peg in a round hole. It might go. Maybe if I hit it hard enough. Well, let me shorten that up. See how this is gonna go now. Oh yeah. That should work plenty. Alright, now I gotta tack this thing in place just so I can go check it, make sure it's gonna fit. We'll see if it fits. So looking at Lennards' trunk right here, I need to duplicate this to what that is. You know, because the gasket that goes, or the trunk seal that goes right there, you know, it's flat and it has the hole in the middle, so that way the filler tube can go through it. Here, it just wouldn't look right. So I was gonna go ahead and duplicate that hump out of sheet metal, and just make one, but then I realized that my red 68 RT behind the house, it needs a trunk pan. That's the only piece of freaking metal that red car needs in my backyard is a freaking trunk pan. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and sacrifice that piece out of the 68 to put it in Lennards' car. So Lennards' car will have a true RT piece on his clone car. Alright, right here this is a true 68 RT, R6 red, no, R4 red. Yeah, R4 red. I mean, it's a 8-track radio car, disc brake, Sure Grip 323, black interior, AC, cool car. And this is literally the only rust this car has. Actually, no, I'm sorry, right here. In the very back of the trunk. That's because in the wrecking yard it was sitting in, the trunk lid was open, and the car was sitting at an angle. And so all the water just collected at the back and didn't have nowhere to go, so it made a hole to drain out of. So, but yeah, you can see this car. I mean, look at the quarters. Perfecto. Wheelhouses, nada. This is a nice car. You know, too bad right now I'm shamelessly using it as shelving and storage. But I will get to this car. This is one of those cars that has to be done right because I want it to be. So it sits until I can get my junkers out of the way. But yeah, look at the floors. It still has all the paint in it. Super nice car. But I will get to this one. I've got all the parts to it. Actually, the original doors, they're sitting over there. You can see them, the red. But yep. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut that out because it needs a trunk pan anyway. You can see actually right here, it's a little rotted right there, and then it's all just nothing but rot back here. And that's the only thing in this car. That's the only rust in this car, is that right there and that little bit right there. Other than that, I mean, look at well, it's smashed right here. You know, that's wrecking yard damage there, but yeah, look at the rear valence. Alright, I need to cut some grooves in these screw heads because some of them are kind of messed up a little bit. You know what, let me just hop in here. I guess it helps if you plug it in. Alright. We should have sparks now. Now them screws will come out. Alright, now that I cut grooves on the screws, I can just use a flathead screwdriver to pull them out. Because the Phillips wasn't going to happen. Especially this one here. This screw here was really messed up. Alright. I guess I can just use this rubber too. Rubber's in good shape. Nice and flexible. Come on. Sweet. Oh, that's the original red underneath that. That's for sure. Got the donor filler tube hump trimmed and fitted. I need to cut a hole underneath that, so I started with the sawzall hole a hole saw. I'm just going to take a saw blade and run all the way across it. I don't want to use the cutoff wheel because it'll just blow sparks everywhere in the trunk, and this is actually painted. This is what kind of sucks. Is after I get this tack welded in and then seam sealed, I'm going to have to pretty much weld blanket the entire trunk of the car just so it doesn't get splatter all over it, and then I'm gonna have to I have to paint that and to try and blend it in. Actually, you can't blend satin, so I'm kind of just gonna have to do a tape line right up against the seam sealer. I'll just do a tape line because you can't blend satin. Once it's on there, it's on there. So I'm gonna get on that. I need to cut the hole. Tape. Well, here's some more repop crap. The gas tank straps, these are stainless steel ones. So these are actually the higher dollar ones. And I'm having to bend these into shape to put on Lennards' car when they got the freaking anchor bend, or the little anchor on the backside, bent the wrong direction. So when you try and bend it back, it's just going to pop that weld. Pop that weld. So, and that's stainless. Luckily, I got the TIG welder, and I can just, I got some stainless rod, so I can just weld it back up. But still, it was bent the wrong freaking direction. Nice. All right, just doing a quick mock-up and see how well the new filler tube inlet lines up with the the base plate, I guess I'll call this. The lines up perfect. Really good, actually. So Yep, it's gonna have 2 filler tubes in this car. Cool, now we can start welding it. Alright, again, one thing that sucks about this is the car is already painted. So, this kind of sucks. Another work day, back on some Mopar junk, and junker up, you know, it's Mopar junk. Anyway, yeah, I got Lennards' third member here. The whole rear axle in Lennards' car was done. It was but it was I assembled the third member with a crush sleeve, and he wanted to switch that over to a solid spacer. So he had to tear the whole rear end back apart, get the third member up on the stand, and then tear this apart just so I can put the solid spacer in it. But now that's all done. Now I can put it back in the car. Solid spacers are better. You know, it keeps, you can actually, you don't have to load the pinion bearing so much to crush the sleeve. Now, this way you just set the pinion load, and it actually, you can take a lot of load off. You can make it spin easier, and it's just a better, it's the way you want to go is with solid spacer. So that's done. And then while I was doing that, I was kind of waiting for the filler to dry on the trunk pan. So, or on his on the second filler tube hump. So another freaking crappy windy day. I hate wind. But yep, that's all hard now. So now I can sand this down, and then we'll go ahead and prime it. Then I'll paint it. That way it matches the trunk. Which is going to be kind of tough because it's satin black, and you can't touch up satin black, or you can't blend it. You know, once it's in there, it's in there. So yeah, we'll go ahead and sand that guy, and then make some progress on this thing. Yep. This is the shitty part. These fucking things are heavy. I know they make aluminum ones, but they're $1,000. Huh. Come on, baby. Actually, that wasn't too bad. Oh, heavy bastard. Where's the bolts? Over there. You put one in so this thing don't fall on my head. Alright. It wasn't too bad actually on that one. Well, let me finish putting all the bolts in. Pretty much got it tacked in place, just a couple tacks here and there, and then basically what I want to do is get it flat so it's flush. You know, run it a little bit, flush it up, so pretty much all the way around it's flush, and then from there I'll just go zap 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 in between those welds, continue all the way around, and then got to grind the crap out of it. So yep, gonna get to welding. Talk about junk in the trunk. Start welding up some gaps, Walter.
Gaps in what?
This piece I'm having to weld up here. Alright, got a couple things done on Lennards' car. Go ahead to show you. Got the passenger side filler tube hump. It's welded in, did a little filler work to it. Once that's painted, that's going to look beautiful. And then I shall show you the finish work on Lennards' Firewall. Which you can see, I have welded in the original blower motor hole, and that's all metal. There's no filler there, there's no nothing. Perfectly flat and smooth. Looks muy bueno. And the way you do that is patience. You have a lot of patience when you're welding a hole like that. Actually, let me turn the lights on so you can see better. See, I'm getting ready to go racing, so gotta clean this all up and then load the race car, and there we go, you can see better now. Yep, so that's all done. But just like in the last clip, you know, you just have to do spot or tack weld, just pretty much across from each other, and then you'll get most of it welded up, and then you'll notice that then you'll have little pinholes that you got to weld. Just leave them alone. Grind it down, then weld up those little pinholes, and then grind it again. Because if you try and weld a pinhole in between two tack welds, all you're going to be doing is bonding the two tack welds next to it together. You won't actually be penetrating the hole. As you can see on the inside, that's all welded. See how there's it's welded all the way around? There's no gap there. So, but yeah, that's done. See, I got another light here. Where's the other light? Oh, there it is. I'll just give you a better view of the trunk with the light on. Let there be light. Alright, there we go. More betters. So, yep, as you can see, that's all good now. So, he will have 2 filler tubes, 2 gas caps, and there's 2 holes in the gas tank. All done. Ooh. So, alright, well, I gotta go clean the truck. I gotta wash the race car, load it up, get everything ready, and then go and hit the road tonight. And then while I'm leaving a day early so I can go to the wrecking yard in Turlock and have them torch off the frame rail sections I need for the turquoise car. So actually, yeah, I started putting some right here. I'll go ahead and show you. Actually, you know what? Now I'll save that for next time. So, all right. Well, see you guys later.